Do you know the difference between watercolor pencils and watercolors? In today's video, I'll tell you about the differences between these mediums and how choosing one may make a difference in how your project turns out. Most of you who are viewing my videos aren't subscribing. Consider subscribing. The first difference is how they're applied. Watercolor pencils are two mediums in one. It is a drawing medium and then a painting medium with water. And watercolors are a painting medium, so they have a different technique for when you apply it to paper. The first technique you can use with watercolors is doing wet on wet, adding wet watercolors on wet paper. When using watercolors, you use multiple layers. You build up the color and detail by layering. Well, with watercolor pencils, it's way different. This technique is great for using on backgrounds because it gives you a nice wash of color. The next technique you can use with watercolors is wet on dry. Using this technique is similar as the first one, it's just that this time the paper is dry and you're just using wet watercolors on top. This is a great technique for when going in for details and getting a vibrant color. Watercolors also have a different technique of using them. The first technique for applying watercolor pencils is to use them as regular colored pencils and then activate them with water with a paintbrush. You can see already the difference between normal watercolors and watercolor pencils because watercolor pencils have this texture behind them. The next technique for using watercolor pencils is first dipping the pencil into water and then applying it to paper. This gives it a more thicker and vibrant line, and it could be used for detail. Now I'll show you an example of me using the first technique. I started in by coloring with regular pencils and adding shading, then I go in with the water. you can see here how the color just becomes more vibrant, and you can still see those marks where we use the color pencils. The next difference is portability and cleanliness. So with watercolor pencils, you can easily put it into a pouch, add your favorite water brushes, and you're pretty much good to go. Just remember to zip that up and toss it into your bag. I'd probably rate this out of cleanliness would probably be 10 out of 10. It's pretty secure in there. It won't go anywhere. And since they're pencils, there's no paint that's gonna like get anywhere. Portability, it's pretty portable. You can take it anywhere. I'd say 10 out of 10. Now with watercolors, the best way to make it portable isn't just taking the tray and putting it into your pouch or into your bag. The best way I found was probably taking each individual tube and putting them all together in a Ziploc bag, because this way no paint will get anywhere and it's pretty clean. But the problem with this is that paint is paint. I mean, paint can still come out of those tubes during an accident, and as the Ziploc bag can't ensure that those tubes won't explode or anything. So cleanliness, I'd give this like a 4. Well, actually I'd give it like a 5. It could work for a while and then, I don't know, probably not. And you just take water brushes too. That'd probably be the easiest way to take it with you. Or another way you can take watercolors is if they're smaller tubes, you can fit them into like a container like that. And I'd rate this probably very portable. I'd give this like a 9 out of 10. And I'd probably give that one a cleanliness 7 out of 10 because it's still paint. See, I'm fitting these in my bag right now, and you can easily put these into the pouch, but the ones in this plastic container, they're pretty much safe. I wouldn't say they would leak anywhere. I'd give that pretty portable. I like it. But if you use the ones in the bag, I mean, if they explode, man. Like, that's getting everywhere. So that's the big difference between watercolors and watercolor pencils and how portable and clean they are. So if you don't really like a mess or risking a mess, probably you might want to go with your basic watercolor pencils in a pouch with some water brushes. And that's it for this difference. The final difference is appearance. The artwork that I did with regular watercolors, you can see how this one is more effortless, looks effortless, while the one with watercolor pencils, you can see that texture and how different it looks. So if you like this video, click like, subscribe, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye bye.